Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 18, Tales of the Sail, which we're going to call the Summer of Plunder. It is July of 2021. We're halfway through the year. I'm joining you along with my two fellow podcasters from our varied locations here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. First, we will have Tyler Stone say hello.
Hello, hello.
And our podcasting was delayed, recording by a night because of a rogue cow. I'm gonna let Glenn Van Meter explain himself. Go ahead, Glenn. Say hi.
Hi, everyone. Yeah,
What happened
cows
with the
showing
cow?
up at the farm late.
I mean, like you do.
Yeah,
I mean, we've all had that where
do this thing.
we're sitting down, the cow shows up, and we're like, "Oh man, now." I mean, we've all been there.
And then they give you a line about cows never showing up late. They're just precisely when they mean to, and all that. Yeah.
I'm just still trying to figure out how you're getting your dowry paid out in installments.
Yeah. I should have asked for the cash option.
Oh my gosh! All right, so we're gonna go around the run and we're gonna just explain what we have been up to.
The heat's
in the
definitely
past
not getting to
month
any
of
of
June.
us.
No, no. I'll also point out if there is a weird hiccup in the recording, it is likely because the massive thunderstorms that are drifting through New York and Connecticut on the tail end of Hurricane Elsa, who can't seem to let it go.
It's a horrible joke.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I know.
also, Elsa wasn't supposed to
out there.
hit your area until like tomorrow afternoon.
No, but it's. I think we're getting part of it now because we got some pretty bad thunderstorms all day. So if my power cuts out and if I lose my connection, just be aware that Glenn and Tyler are talking because I can't. They're speaking up for me when I can't speak for myself.
And that'll be the end of it.
Tyler, I'll let you go first. Tell us what you've been up to for the month of June, hobby-wise, gaming-wise.
So hobby and gaming wise, I've been kind of helping to get a historical group up and running in a local store. We haven't gotten into Blood and Plunder yet. We've actually been playing Test of Honor, and I've been dealing with Warlord's fiddly miniatures, which might actually come up a little bit later in this podcast when we start talking about some of their other lines. But yeah, I've been really enjoying playing Test of Honor in the sense that I really enjoy watching samurai movies. But as far as Blood and Plunder, Oak and Iron, things like that go, I got some 3D printed terrain for Oak and Iron, which I think Glenn also picked up. So I've been working on... I'm sorry?
The stuff from Battle Kiwi?
Yeah. And so I've been working on getting that, doing the water effect on that, getting it painted up and flocked so it looks like it has trees on it. And working on...
Preston ordered? That he ordered a big set of it? Preston did?
Yeah, we mention him every episode, so I was just trying to give him a pass this time around.
Well, I did it, so you did it. So.
We should just bring him in as a host.
I think I ordered a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he did order it.
Yeah, I figured I'd pick it up when next time we saw each other at the convention in the fall.
Yeah,
being it's really good friend terrain. Of the show status.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good terrain. It does come out of New Zealand, so you get absolutely bent over a barrel on shipping. So he ordered in a bunch and then just kind of offered everyone to just throw in some cash and handed it out. I think I got 2 boxes. Glenn, how many did you pick up?
2.
Just one?
2. I got 2.
2? Yeah.
I think I got 2. I don't remember if I paid him. I think I did. So Preston, if I didn't pay you, just remind me. I feel like I mean,
I'm the
I don't know.
pirate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have unintentionally pirated that stuff from you, so I apologize.
Well, I don't think you have possession yet, so we're like,
Well, what's that? I love that meme that goes around every once in a while. It's like Jake and the Neverland Pirates, where it's like a good pirate respects people's property. It's like,
yeah, it doesn't steal.
like nice. I think you missed the last lesson, really. Which store have you been trying to get things going at?
It's a store here in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, like Camp Hill, Mechanicsburg area. It's a game table cafe, and they're mostly board games. Like it is a board game cafe. So anything that's on a small table, or comes in a box that you can just sort of unbox and start playing, I think Oak and Iron would do really well there. And I suppose I could probably show them Scurvy Dice because they might be just about the only market that's down to play that game.
I like Scurvy Dice, though. It's a cool game.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, it is. It's
Place-
funny because Mike's always like, "Don't forget, we have Scurvy Dice." I don't think any of the historical players are like. That was kind of an odd aside for them to work on, but it is a really fun game.
It is nice too, and it plays quickly. You're
Yeah.
not dedicated for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to Glenn. Other than chasing down rogue cows and fighting the never-ending battle of bedtime,
Oh,
what have
gosh.
you been up to this June?
Well, not working on the painting like I should have been, but also, me and my crew of guys, Eric, Ben, and Max, started a small No Peace Beyond the Line campaign that we've been really enjoying. Mostly because it's fun seeing the character progression, getting to like, trash talk each other and play the games. And also, it's generating a lot of content for us to report to the global campaign. So, getting lots of
Nice.
photos for that. I've also done a few demos over the last month or so. In fact, part of the reason I was late tonight was I was running a demo.
That's a good reason to be
Oh,
late,
cool.
actually. I thought it was
Yeah.
bedtime stuff, which is why we
Oh
sent
no,
you
it was
like
also that.
50 memes.
Yeah, it was also that. So
We did miss between the last time we recorded and this time. We were all down there at Critical Hit again.
yep, we're
And
trying to get a
ran
monthly thing
another of
going
the-
there.
I
Yeah.
love how you say we were all.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, you're asking Glenn and I what we've been up to.
Yeah. I'm asking you and Glenn. So
And for
I
some
am
reason,
not part of your awesome community that you have down there yet. I'm
weirdly,
working on
Tom didn't make the 5-hour drive down to
No.
Critical Hit.
For shame.
it. It is longer than 5 hours. I think it's probably 6. Are you guys south of Baltimore?
No,
Yeah.
You're north of it. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is 5 hours. It's not as bad as I thought.
I'm surprised at the number of people that are like on the Pennsylvania side of the border and willing to drive. I think just about everyone converges on that shop from an hour to 2 hours away.
well, when it's the only place with a gaming room that's open in the area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of game rooms being open, things in the Northeast are starting to open up. And I've been trying to paint the terrain that I promised I would do. I didn't get as far as I would have liked, but I did make a start. But you gotta spend money to make money, or in this case, in the hobby, you gotta spend money to spend money, and you also have to make a huge mess. There are people who are far more organized than me. Will be like, but Tom, you don't need to make a mess, and I'll tell them, false. Okay, you need to destroy your house. So I basically have terrain and junk all over the place. I took over the dining room, part of the kitchen, part of the living room. But my wife told me that that's what usually happens at the end of a school year. I kind of bring all the stuff that I was using in school, like terrain and board games and all sorts of stuff, and I just kind of dump it. all over the house, and it takes me usually a couple of weeks to effectively put it away properly. Part of it is that there's no place to put it away. Like, I mean, there is, but I have to kind of like be organized, and I don't know. I'm not a slob, but I'm not organization and planning. It's usually not my strengths as a teacher or as a person. So it's been a challenge. But I'd say got some stuff painted, um, made progress on terrain, but didn't finish anything. I did finish all the objective markers that I'm planning on giving out as prizes for the campaign, which we'll get to later. And I excitingly got to run a demo at an actual store um, with a new friend of the show, Nigel Vega, who lives in the area. He lives really close to the Mawa location in New Jersey of Mythicos Games. Mythicos is a store that has been mentioned on podcasts on our website before. It's been kind of covered and given a little bit of press. I've taught a class on basing there because they have an entire set of courses called like the Jersey Devil courses, and they have all these different painters and people that do classes that you can sign up for and pay a small fee, and you get to kind of get a master class in minis painting on like shading and horses. And it's very much like the cool stuff that they do at Historicon or any of the other HMGS conventions, where you get to kind of sign up for the classes with people from like Reaper and some of the other paint companies and stuff like that. So they open a new location that is much closer to me. So this weekend, I'm going to go down on Friday to play some Team Yankee. And then I'm going up to uh, Kerwin's Game Store, which finally reopened its store on June 25th for gaming. I'm going there on Saturday, so I've got back-to-back days of getting to game and do stuff. But I think Nigel is excited uh, to run more demos with me because I have a couple friends that I play with, but he's somebody who lives really close to Mythicos, and he has all the crescent route terrain, and I'd never really seen it in person, but man, um, that stuff is impressive. And he also has Dexter Hyde's like hand painted like Native American longboats and stuff, and also all this stuff was painted by Rufus. So like it makes me look at my stuff and be like, man, I haven't done well enough because Rufus's paint jobs are pretty incredible. So yeah, it's been a busy June, but also as a teacher, my school year ended later than it's ever ended before. We didn't end until the 25th of June. Our grades were due on the 21st, but we kept teaching until the 25th. And if you're asking yourself at home, why would you do that? That's a question I got to ask myself for 4 straight days. Um, but I did get to play Blood and Plunder with the kids on several of those days, so it wasn't a total loss. Um, so at this point, I'm going to try to keep a record of like when we talk about things. So we're at the 12-minute mark or so, and we are going to be talking about the campaign.
Oh, hold on.
Um,
Wait. One
Go
big
ahead.
thing you touched on was your end of year mess.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going through a similar thing like that because I think you guys know, but yesterday was my last day at my job after 9 years there. I'm starting a new job on Monday, but I had to clean out my desk, which took way longer than I anticipated, and also resulted in boxes of things coming home into the house that I now have to put away.
Oh, I really enjoyed you telling me about your your farewell note being modeled on the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I did quote, yeah, I did the Bilbo Baggins farewell speech thing. I included that in my goodbye email, as well as I signed off with "So long and thanks for all the fish," which
Beautiful.
for anyone who doesn't know is a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. I think I had lots of coworkers that were very confused.
So a bug literally just flew into my water right now, and I'm sorry if I'm distracted because it's this is gross.
And the show falls apart.
No, it does
Yeah.
not. No, no. Get this bug out of here. What is bugs? Where did it even
Don't
come
worry.
from?
Don't worry,
Windows
Tom.
are
We'll get it in
closed.
post.
Sure, we will. There's no post. This is gonna hit the button.
Oh no.
Oh, Mitch. I'm sorry we did this to you. Um, so the campaign. Tyler, you want to start? You want to talk about the campaign? Give us an overview.
Yeah. So we're into, I believe, what is this? The second month of it?
Yeah,
'Cause it's been running for
in
quite a
month
while
2.
now. You guys, you still have time to contribute to the campaign as far as sending in pictures. Make sure that they get to Blood and Pigment, and obviously, secret challenges have been going out. They continue to go out. They're kind of scattered right now. I know that Blood and Pigment's been putting out their newsletter, which tries to get most of them. But I know, Tom, you just put in a Spanish call for aid on the No Dice site.
We need some help. We need some help. That got published.
Yeah,
on
Spain
Monday.
is getting wrecked.
Spain's getting.
Wait, you guys
Spain's
were
having a
in the
rough
lead.
time.
Hold on, you guys were in the lead last I looked, which kind of shows that I haven't looked in like a week.
I looked at this. It was tightening up.
It was
Actually, I
like
will say
18
that.
to 14 last I looked.
Yeah, I'm creeping up. I'm creeping up. So like, basically, the way this
No,
campaign
no,
works.
ahead.
Sorry, oh, I was ahead.
I thought you were last time I looked.
I don't know. I'll check it again. But so for those of you, for the uninitiated, okay, the way this campaign works is, you just play games. It doesn't matter what force you have. It doesn't matter if you have Oak and Iron, which we'll get to, or Blood and Plunder. But you just need to take a few pictures while you're playing. Email the guys at Blood and Pigment, and they have been very, very good. Guy Ruark and Joe Forrester are the people that are running it, and they're being helped by a bunch of other guys over at Blood and Pigment. And we're just helping them kind of with the advertising, but the mechanics of it really are them, and they've done quite a lot of work. And the Firelock guys are helping publicize stuff as well. So all you do is you take a few pictures, and then you email them, and you let them know how the game went. You give them a brief little overview. In the subject heading, try to make sure you mention like which factions are fighting. It is helpful if you do that. It helps them kind of sort it. And people that submit for any faction have the potential to win a fully painted Guy Rourke ship, which is gorgeous. What is he? Is it a frigate or a 6-rate? I forget what it is.
Sloop.
It's a sloop. It's a sloop.
Yeah, it's one of his sloops.
It's one of his sloops, but this is like these things are kitted out. He's done like tutorials on how to paint these and stuff like that. So it basically, we don't know who's going to win faction wise, but whatever faction is on top at the end of it, everybody who submitted a battle report having played as that faction basically gets their name thrown in the lottery. So the more factions you play as, the more chances you've got, because the more likely that your faction will have been one of the ones that ends up on top. And on top of that is all these secret objectives. And so I don't know if did you guys come up with secret objectives, because the three of us are commanders for different factions. So I'm the Spanish. Glenn, you are.
I'm the Dutch, and I did not come up with objective names. I think you did a bit more in there.
And then Tyler, you are taking the role of.
I am playing as the French, and I did have a secret objective up, and I am likely going to be putting another one in the next newsletter. Also, I did pull up the standings as of the 30th of last month. So that would have been, what, June? And Tom, you're not in first. You're tied for second. England has 18 reports. Spain and Brethren have 16. And then I, as the French, am in third with 15. The Dutch, you've got 9. Natives have 11. And then Scotland, Portugal, Sweden, and Denmark are virtually non-existent. Scotland has 5, Portugal 2, Sweden 5, Denmark 1. The Danes I don't know how the Danes even snuck in there.
So I will say that, so I published an article on Monday the 6th. It's the 5th. It's the 5th, right? I've lost all conception of time because I'm a teacher on summer vacation.
It was the 5th.
Time has no meaning. So on the 5th, I published an article saying that Spain needs your help, because I want to be the one that gets to throw your names in a hat and give away Guy's sloop, because that would be hilarious. However, I have some prizes of my own, because one of the things that I did publish in the pictures is you see the works in progress, and now I actually have the finished ones. I also posted them on our Facebook page so you can see what they look like. But I mean, I know they're big, they're little terrain pieces. I basically got a ton of Dungeons and Dragons style 3D printed treasure chests, and I cemented them onto a series of circular objectives that are precisely 4 inches in diameter. And they're meant to just serve as like objective markers for a game. But they could just look as terrain pieces because they're basically treasure chests with some glitter on it to show gold and silver coins spilling out of them. They just look kind of cool. So I'm giving away sets of them, sets of 2, possibly sets of 3, uh, depending on how many people actually come up with these. Because I made 15 of them. I tend to make stuff on an industrial size. You said that there's some missions that require 3, Glenn?
Yes, there are.
Okay, so I might have to give away a set of 3. So it says a pair, but I'll give away 3 of them.
It's a bonus to your free
The
stuff.
secret objectives, for those of you who are listening, so I give you clues, sort of like you can see the achievements in like, Xbox Live or whatever. And in this case, the achievements would be a bark worse than its bite. That's number 1. Number 2, farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Number 3, brother versus brother and friend versus friend. And 4, fortune favors the Lanceros. So what I'm looking for, because I managed to hack into Joe Forrester's email, I get to see the same emails that the Blood and Pigment guys do. I look at your battle report. I see if it met the criteria, particularly by looking at the pictures, because I need to see certain things in the pictures. And if I do, then I'm going to reach out to you, and I'm going to ask for your address so I can mail them to you. And I'll drop them in the mail the next day. And I will make an announcement as soon as it basically happens, because we're going to do another, I'm going to try to do campaign updates every Monday. I'm going to try to throw together an article about how I made these treasure chest objectives. But yeah, if you want to get your hands on a full set of objectives that look kind of cool, then submit a Spanish battle report. And there's a chance that you might have accidentally stumbled upon one of those 4 things. Any of you guys want to make a plug? You want to repeat yours, Tyler, if it didn't get snagged yet?
Yeah, so I guess similar to what Tom already touched on, we're not going to tell you to play a certain character or fight against a certain faction. Hint, hint. It will typically be something in the campaign reports or in our newsletters or announcements that sort of alludes to what you'll need to do. And currently within the campaign, I was discussing that French out of Martinique, offering all of the wonderful letters of marque that they do, have recently dispatched Lawrence de Graaf to knock the Spanish out of the southern half of one of their islands. So, again, that is only valid until I get the next challenge out. But that should give you an idea of the kinds of things to look for and perhaps the kinds of things that you want to take pictures of or include in your games. I know that it's going to be a little challenging for Oak and Iron players, but remember there is still a particular conflict going on there that you can certainly model.
All right. So stay tuned for updates. We're going to keep posting about it. And we will probably publish several more articles about it before it's over. But also stay tuned for Blood and Pigment's newsletter, because it's very well done and it gives you a fun overview. They've really done a nice job so far. I think it's been a well-run campaign, and they're very much on top of things. So if you haven't played a game yet, please do. And make sure you submit stuff to the Blood and Pigment email. It says it's bndpcampaign@gmail.com. Which
Spell it
brings
out.
us
It's not
to
B ampersand P. It's
B
it's like band
And
P.
P.
and P. B and P. Yes, B and spelled out. All right, so we're going to start talking about Oak and Iron today. But unfortunately, it's something that I think Glenn has more experience with than either me or Tyler. So Glenn, I'm going to let you kind of just talk about like what what is Oak and Iron, and how does it pair with Blood and Plunder?
Oh, hey, was that a bus? Um, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Oak and Iron, for those of you who don't know, is Firelock's 1/600 scale ship combat game. It's a larger scale than many naval combat games are. If those of you who played Sails of Glory, it's 1/1000. Other common sailing ship scales are like 1/900, I think.
1/1200th and 1/2400th.
Well, yeah, I know like 1/2400 for modern. I was thinking of Age of Sail.
I think Black Sails is like 1 to 300.
Are you talking
Yeah.
about Warlord?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Warlord one.
They're
Black Sails.
1/700 because I picked something weird on purpose.
Yeah, they picked an odd scale. They did.
Yeah, they always
It's like
do.
close, but it's like close, but it's not quite there.
And it's a little tiny for our uses, yeah. Anyways, um, so it's set in the 17th century, a little before Black Sails, because that's Napoleonic era. This is, 100 years or older.
And I'd point out that one of the
1650s.
things that Mike Tunez mentioned about it is there is a lot more flavor and variety of ship during the period they've chosen to depict. So because it's the 17th century into the early 18th century, like the same time period that Blood and Plunder covers, you tend to have like there's more boarding actions. There's less huge ships that are decked out and professional. Like so, it's
Yeah, it's because the whole concept of like a common standardized navy is still,
in development.
yeah, it's
You
still
know,
being developed.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean, even in the 1650s, you're like what 100 years removed from Francis Drake essentially inventing uh, a mercenary navy. Like
Yeah.
that was when England was like, "Oh, we need naval defense.
Yeah, so I think that like kind of highlights
We'll
the
hire some
benefits
ships
of it
with
as a
guns on
game.
them from the Russians."
Um,
100 years later, 1650s.
yeah, so I think I don't know if my internet connection is getting weird because of the lightning, but I think Glenn's got weird for a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry.
but like I think just like Mike said to us when he demoed the game for us at the last convention we were actually at, there's more color, there's more like story to it, and the way that I kind of describe it for people that have played some of the Star Wars games is it's a little like Star Wars Armada, where you have a set number of turns and the ships are moving around, but it's more broad strategy as opposed to the kind of nitty gritty, down and dirty skirmish rules that Blood and Plunder does so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, it's it in the sense of naval battles, as people often think of them, while it can handle, lining up a bunch of third rates, there isn't really a great way to do that right now. Because they're still expanding the line. I mean, they only just put out the first starter, which has like being 1/600 scale, it's larger, and they do tend to focus on smaller ship actions. So you're talking about the smaller ships in the game are the sloop and the brigantine, but even in the starter set, the largest ship is the galleon. The largest ship that exists in the BMP catalog. So using all those ships that you know from BMP to do small scale actions with like squadrons of small craft is really what this game is focused on. So imagine like army scale naval combat in BMP being simplified down. That's what your Oak and Iron is.
It's a good way to describe it.
However,
I wouldn't
it's like
say
Armada. Go on.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily true. If you grab the Ships of the Line box, and I think this is kind of where this was coming from. First of all, everything is back in stock right now. They were having issues with getting things in and making it restockable, but they just got back the Ships of the Line box, which is a third rate, a second rate, and a first rate. And then obviously it goes on down. You have your fourth, fifth, and sixth. And then as far as the smallest ships that you can get that would overlap with Blood and Plunder, like Glenn said, you have the sloop, the brigantine, corvettes, light frigates, so on, up to the galleon. So you could, if you wanted to, play fairly large battles. And one of the things that this game does that I find really interesting is they've broken up the points scale in terms of what size ship you can take. So if you do want to play those like more Caribbean themed, smaller engagements like you'd find in Blood and Plunder, you can do that. But if you want to play something like Texel, because this battle or this game really focuses around like the Anglo-Dutch Wars, if you want to play something like Texel with 100 ships on each side, you can do that, and they do have large enough ships to do that, and it will still play just fine.
Yeah, my comment about there not being a way to do that right now is more that if you're getting larger ships of the line, such as third rates, you're getting them on a 1-for-1 ratio with seconds and firsts.
Yeah, you're going to be
it's just not
buying. You
efficient.
can't buy individual ships right now, which is
But they're working on
kind
it.
of frustrating.
They're working on it, yeah.
Yep.
Mike has also promised a third-rate box at some point. So,
Mhm.
the rumor is that's actually going to be the next Kickstarter once this one's delivered for BMP.
So let me ask you a question of Glenn. Like, what do I get in the starter? If I buy the starter, like I can play any faction. I can play it as the French, as the Dutch, as the English, as whatever. And do I need to
Yeah.
paint the ships?
So I was about to touch on this when Tyler was explaining things. It's kind of like X-Wing in that you have predetermined movement distances based on what's on your ship's card. So, if you buy the starter box, it comes with the 6 smallest ships, which is the sloop, brigantine, corvette, flute, light frigate, and light galleon, which implies the existence of a heavy galleon at some point. You also get some commander cards, I think you get, or admiral cards rather. And then each fact you get these generic cards that can be added to your hand. I guess I'm missing this.
Hang on, I got you.
So the game is played instead of having an initiative deck of playing cards like BMP has. You pick any of the 5 cards from either your faction or a general pool, and those form your initiative hand that you go through out the game with. And then you can just choose a new one each turn and put it down. And some of them are one time only, that kind of thing. Each one has a different advantage on it for the turn. So in the core box, it comes with all the movement tokens, it comes with all the ship tokens, it comes with all the cards for French, Dutch, Spanish, English, and pirates, as well as just a general list of cards that can be taken by any of the countries, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, the ships are all 2-color plastic. The sails are all cast in white, the ships are in brown, and they look respectable if you just take them out of the packaging, stick the sails on them, and then stick them on the plastic bases, which are
Is it a pain
clear.
to paint them? I mean, you've painted yours, right?
No, I
No,
have
Mine
not
are
gotten
painted
that yet.
up.
Remember, I was going to challenge you to that, and then we both decided that this wasn't the month for that.
Yeah, because I don't have mine yet because I was waiting for them to get the stuff in.
Yes.
I've painted mine up. What I've seen from other people is that these take contrast paints incredibly well. In fact, looking at other people's ships that they have done has convinced me to perhaps dabble in contrast, specifically for painting these. I painted mine the way that I paint all of my stuff. So I used Army Painter paints. And one thing that I will say is at 1/600th scale, these ships are pretty big. They're not difficult to paint. They can be a little fiddly. I mean, you're still painting something that's fairly small, but if you're comfortable painting the barrel on your muskets for Blood and Plunder, That's about the thinnest brush that you're going to need to paint hull stripes or to dab on paint for the windows and things like that. Excuse me, I'm a masochist. I did all of my cannon carriages, cannon barrels, and all of those things. You certainly don't have to. That's another one where contrast paints are going to help you out.
Did
But
you
yeah, they
add,
paint up incredibly well.
did you happen to add 3mm tall crew to your ships? Because I've seen
No,
that.
that was something that I wanted to do. There are companies that sell 3mm brass sailing figures.
Somebody did that? Did you
I
see
was
some
laughing,
pictures?
but I have seen pictures on the Oak and Iron Facebook group of
Yeah, they're
somebody who added
stamped
stuff.
brass, so they're flat, which is kind of weird.
But they do look like
Yeah,
minions.
people have been adding rigging with fly tying line and, bristles off of like house painting brushes because they're a little bit stiff, so you can get in there and glue them with tweezers. Just like the Blood and Plunder Facebook group, I strongly urge people to check out the Oak and Iron Facebook group because there are some incredible modelers on there that are taking advantage of the scale on these ships and doing some really cool things.
Yeah, I'm gonna check this out because I can't conceive. I'm always impressed when I see something that small painted, but the fact that somebody would do rigging on it, like that person's insane. Like I don't know who you are if you're listening to this.
Yeah, people do rigging on the 1/1200ths and
Oh my
to a smaller extent on the 1/2400ths. So we're talking ships that are half to a quarter the size of the Oak and Iron ships.
Well,
Yep.
now that they're back in stock, which Mike
Yeah.
confirmed to me, right? I'm gonna take the dive and I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of this stuff, and start getting it painted because I need to paint it. Like
I'm not gonna
first
I'm not
for
gonna lie,
Star Wars
Tom.
Armada, I did paint all the fighters. Like I did them all. Couldn't take it.
I'm not gonna lie, the best buy is literally just the core box because I think it's what? Is it 60? 70?
70.
Yeah.
If you add up the cost of the two ship boxes, the merchantman and what's the other one?
Men of Fortune.
Men of Fortune, that's it. If you add those two together and then also consider the cost of dice and other markers and tokens and cards and stuff, you're getting a great deal with the starter set. So even just buying two of those gets you two of each of the smallest ships.
Yeah, the Merchantmen and Gentlemen of Fortune box, each on their own, are $30 or $29. Let's be fair to Firelock. So each of the $29, the starter is $69, and the starter
dice
comes
is
with
like 10.
Yeah, so the starter comes with essentially one copy of each card. So you can play, and they do have an expanded set of cards that you can buy as well, for upgrades, ship upgrades, and then like Glenn was talking about, you build a hand at the start of the game. You choose what cards you want to use in the game. They give you one copy of each of those cards. You can play two players out of the Oak and Iron core box, but if one of you chooses the signal close action card, the other player isn't going to be able to choose that one because there's only one copy. So if you just grab two starter boxes, you have two equal sized fleets of 6 ships each. Most of those ships are small enough that you're going to want 2 or more of them. Like one sloop on its own is kind of silly. And you're going to have enough cards that you actually can play this as 2 players. It's kind of similar to when you bought the old starter boxes from Games Workshop or a lot of the other games. You kind of, like, you and a buddy each grab one, and then you just swap some components over. That way you each get a rule book, you each get the cards, you each get dice, templates, and all that good stuff.
The other thing,
Go ahead.
another thing is that I haven't gotten any of the other boxes recently, so they may have added it. But the core box was the only one that I remember coming with a set of decals with like flags and streamers and stuff for your ships to mark nationalities. I mean, there's little tokens to mark ship nationalities to go with the model, but if for modeling purposes, small flags and things to put on the masts, which if you put them around a piece of rolled paper or a piece of tin foil or something like that, you can actually transfer them between ships so that you don't have to model them a specific way. So if you buy the core box, you get 6 sets of those decals, whereas if you just buy the Gentleman of Fortune box, I don't think it comes with those.
That's
which
good
is
to know.
more added value to the starter set.
Mhm.
Well, I think like once the three of us have our sets and have an opportunity to start playing with each other, like I'm still trying to get the Blood and Plunder, community off the grounds in the Hudson Valley. And I'm making progress, I have to say. Like I'm going to be able to start actually doing demos in stores in Massachusetts and Connecticut, and I'll start to post about those on the Facebook page on Blood and Plunder. I'll let people know where I'm going to be and when, and I'll also advertise it on here. But yeah, I want to get my hands on the starter and I want to start playing around with it. But I think we will start doing more podcasts about it in the future where we'll be covering strategy and how the ships play and stuff like that. Because I think those are the things that I really enjoyed listening to when people did stuff on Armada or people did stuff on those kinds of games. I really liked hearing people talk through strategy and figure out like what they thought worked, how they build a list, things like that. I like listening to that. So I like to give other people the chance to hear that.
Yeah, we're certainly not done with Blood and Plunder by any stretch. We've been working on Blood and Plunder, obviously, on the podcast since we started. Just thought we should give Oak and Iron some love. And I know for myself, since we are going to start giving Oak and Iron some love, and since, like I mentioned, I've been playing in a board game cafe, I'm going to try and get Oak and Iron in there. I think it'll do really well. That's one of the things that I really like about the game. Is I talked to Mike when Oak and Iron came out, and I said, this is great because it comes in a core box. It's something that for under $100, you can put this on a shelf in a gaming store. He was talking about getting it into places like Barnes and Nobles. Yeah. Places that sell board games and hobby games like that. I remember getting Games Workshop Lord of the Rings models out of I think Borders when it was still open at one point. So yeah, having a box like this that you could just take to a store, put it on the shelf, someone can buy it, open it up when they get home, and start playing right away is huge. This plays a lot more. I won't say it plays like a board game, but it's definitely better for getting your friends who are maybe a little put off by miniatures. So I think it's going to do really well in the board game cafe because it's like this is a self-contained game. It even has I want to say 2 foot by 2 foot fold out ocean shaped map on it and some punch card island terrain that you can just punch out and throw on that mat. So everything that you need to play a game is in the box.
That mat's beautiful, by the way. I actually do use it for not only Oak and Iron, but occasionally a Blood and Plunder ship battle.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's good for demos.
it is.
It's small and it looks beautiful.
All right, so we are 42 minutes in, which means it's time for us to talk about bets and for us to talk about trivia. So, Glenn, why don't you walk us through what June's challenge was and give us the rundown?
Oh boy. So last
the belly
time,
aching begins.
yeah. Last time I took Tom's challenge, which was to outpaint Tom for the month. And I didn't even think to like put this up for a community vote, which I meant to do. Because this was a vague thing. I think I did that. I have no idea. I didn't. I was hoping to get a frigate and a flute done by the 27th, and I have a half-painted frigate sitting here to my left. I didn't get even touch the flute.
The only thing I managed to finish painting is 15 treasure chest objectives, which I sent you guys pictures of. That's what I spent our last paint night doing. And I yeah, they've been a long process, but they are done. So there's 15 of them. and I worked in the Milicianos, but that's it. So
Oh,
I feel like if you completed an entire boat, that probably qualifies. But Tyler, you get to be the tiebreaker on this.
but I didn't complete the boat. It's like
Oh,
I'm gonna say it's like 80%, and then I also did work on my dozen Canadian militia,
I don't know,
also at
Tyler.
80%.
Tyler, what do you think?
see, don't catch me in the middle of this. I've stayed out of your bets this whole time.
Tyler, roll a die. Odds I made it. Evens I
We
didn't.
can also do what you said we would do, and we can put it up for a
Yeah,
vote
just put it up
on
to the
Facebook
community.
page and
Yeah.
say, who do you think
I wish it had
painted
something
more
to
this month?
announce now. So Tom will get a painted longboat from me if
If I win the vote.
if it's voted that I did not outpaint Tom.
Okay.
Tyler, if you can make that post, I can send you photos of the
And I will
frigate
send
and the-
you photos of my. Well, you have the photos up there already. You have
Yeah.
the photos of the treasure
Yeah,
chest.
just put them in our chat, and not right now because it might beep on the recording, but
Yep.
put them in the chat when we're done here, and I guess I will make that post. This is your last
Alright.
chance. You guys can mulligan it also.
No, let's put it to the vote. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll set that post up. I'll put it on the page, and then I'll share it to all the Blood and Plunder pages that we're in. So wherever you choose to listen to your podcasts or view our shenanigans on Facebook.
All right.
Or
Glenn,
if you're
what is
listening,
your-
hell, just email it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take that too. All votes will be considered.
Yep.
Glenn, your goal this time.
The goal I want for myself this time goes hand in hand both with my resolution and the campaign that I'm running with my friends, which is I need to get 16 Dutch minis painted. I had my Dutch half done. I hated it. There's 46 minis I just stripped all the paint off of. Which, by the way, I used every paint stripper I could think of. The simple green and what's the other one? LA Totally Awesome. And nothing of that nature took off Vallejo primer that didn't already have paint over it. So if you wanted a good lasting primer, I think Vallejo primer might be the answer.
Is it an enamel primer?
No, I don't think so.
Because yeah, I've had that problem before too. Just trying to strip minis and you just can't get to the primer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna prime over it and hope white covers brown well enough.
All right. So
It'll appreciate for you.
Yeah, it'll appreciate. Exactly. All right. So
Yeah.
your goal is to get 16 Dutch minis painted. My challenge, it was originally written in the show notes as 3 demos, but I'm realizing how late in July it is. So I
Well, I mean, I
downgraded it
ran one
to
tonight. Would that count? Or is that throwing off your bet numbers?
I don't know. Then I'm gonna go back to 3. We're gonna go back to 3 demos. But
Well, hold on. Run two
it
additional
counts.
demos.
It counts. So you have to run 2 more. So you have to run 2 more demos before we next record.
Okay.
Okay. That way, if we're slow and we don't record right away in August, you've got a shot. I have to
Like we
have
did
to
this
perform another wedding at the beginning of August, so we may not be able to record right away.
God,
The life of a minister is difficult.
Well, we got to record by like the 3rd.
Yeah, we will. But I do my wedding on the 1st or 2nd, so we can't record that. But
Tom, are you a minister, or are you just like licensed to officiate weddings?
I am a licensed minister.
His job as a union boss.
I'm part of the Ministry of Life Church. We believe in ministries as well as life. Those things. And as proof of my devotion, I paid $35 online. I also got a parking pass, which looks kind of like a handicap parking pass. But since I'm not a bankrupt human being, morally, I have never used said parking pass. This will be the 8th wedding I performed because people keep asking me to do it, and this time it's for a student who graduated, I think, 5 years ago.
Okay, that's a responsible-ish age, I suppose.
Yeah. So I think she's 23, 24, and I actually taught every sister in this family. There's 4 sisters, and I've taught every single one of them. They're really, it's an awesome family, so I'm excited to do it. But yeah, so I'll be busy at the very beginning of August, but we should be able to record by the 3rd. All
By
right,
the way,
so
I did Google Ministry of Life Church, which comes up with the Universal Life Church. Get a priest license today. Ordination package $29.99. So it's
It's
your
like
choice,
the
folks.
diploma mill for weddings.
You can
$5
get
cheaper.
you can get Gentleman of Fortune or become an ordained minister.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. That's a tough choice. That's a devil's bargain right there. All right. Anyway, so Glenn, are you gonna go with my challenge, or are you gonna stick to your painting your Dutch minis?
You know what? I really need the minis painted. So
Okay, that's cool.
sticking with that.
All right,
I
so
need
Glenn
these
sticks with
models
Dutch
done.
minis painted. So put that in bold in the show notes, so we know that's one he picked. I'll let you change it.
Are you okay?
I'll let you do it. It's your thing. All right. So last time, I feel like this is the tone of failure. I feel like everybody who's listening to me before is like, "Wow, Tom, you're really." I'm already making a conquistador costume, which I will be wearing, um, because of my failure last month. June, I need to set myself more achievable goals for June next year because
You're a
June was the
teacher.
worst. And not only that, just to give some background to help explain away my failure, it's an excuse. I'm aware of that. Um, I really thought that my job as the union head for the building would be like winding down because you feel like what could people possibly have to complain about when it's the last week of school? Um, Apparently a lot, because every day there was somebody who came in. Why can't I wear jeans to work? Um, I'm angry that this kid stole a beaker. Um, uh, I don't like this person's name. Okay, I've had a lot of really stupid requests, but I get to deal with them all, but not anymore. So I get to just be a teacher next year, and I'm very excited about that. But needless to say, I failed. So the goal was to complete 2 tables worth of terrain, which I specified to mean 5 scattered pieces each and 2 buildings and a road. I have 1 building assembled. Um, I needed 4 more. Uh, I had them ready, but I didn't get them fully stuccoed. So I used the foreground pieces that Firelock sells, which are really cool, by the way. They're really nice pieces. So they're assembled, and they were actually nice kits to put together, but they're not done. And so I failed. And the penalty is that I have to video myself singing Yankee Doodle in the Connecticut State tartan. So I'm going to go looking for the correct plaid, and I'm going to
You
have
just
my
need to
wife
get
film it,
close.
and I'm going to send it to you, Glenn, and we can post it on the Facebook page for people to laugh at. So
And
I'll get
just so you
that
know,
done. Go ahead.
the only reason it's Yankee Doodle is because that is the Connecticut State song.
Yeah, Connecticut
This is
State. Yeah, Connecticut doesn't have much of an identity. I mean, we have really good pizza, um, but people will claim that it's just New York pizza, and it's like a battleground between the Red Sox and the Yankees because you'll get half the state one way, half the state the other. Um, I believe where the origin of where the hamburger was invented, at least that's the claim. There's a place called Louis Lunch in Hartford, which I've not been to, but I'm gonna check it out. So I will film a quick video of myself, compounding my failure and embarrassment, and I will send it to Glenn. So this time, um, my goal is basically Glenn's challenge from last month, which is to finish all my remaining Spanish forces. And for the purposes of this podcast, I've recorded exactly how many models that is. It is 31 models that include 16 Milicianos, which are almost finished, a lone Lancero, 10 Marineros, 4 Miliciano Indos, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree. Glenn, do you have a challenge for me?
you know, I was gonna make a comment that the fact that you got all the buildings built but not stuccoed. I was just talking to the guy I was demoing with and Eric Mylan as well. And I think everyone's stuck there. They all get the buildings built and then they don't stucco it because the stucco it's daunting. Let's just say that.
It's intimidating, but like I mean, Joe Forrester said he did it on his. He even has an article about it on Blood and
I
Plunder.
know, but I
Did a good shout
stuccoed
out.
my docs, the piers, and I just didn't like how it turned out. I'm scared to do it on the buildings because I'm worried I'll hate them. So, also, I'm just lazy.
Yeah,
So I need
yeah,
to
yeah.
do that at some point. So maybe my challenge is to stucco the houses. Like, when's that class thing you're teaching?
So I don't think it's gonna run. They never got back to me. I emailed to follow up and see which weeks they wanted me to run it, but it looks like as cool as an idea it was,
Not
they were
enough
overwhelmed by other
participation.
stuff. No, I think they just got so overwhelmed by trying to organize a
Like
massive
trying to.
summer program that it just didn't happen.
Oh, it's not
I
like
think
staring into the sun where you just can't deal with the
no,
brilliance.
no, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that.
Mm,
And so,
okay.
so my challenge is to stucco. I want to finish these Spanish because I want to be able to submit at least one game to the campaign that's my own. That's not just me submitting games for the people. So I'm gonna stick with my finish the Spanish. I'll probably regret it. I'll probably wish I had taken up Glenn's offer because I'm probably gonna sit down tomorrow and like do the houses anyway. But I will
The
say that
number
I'm
of
gonna finish
times
31 models.
I just want to point out now that we've finished the bet section, Tom tried super hard to derail me halfway through the month by getting me to play MechWarrior 5,
I don't know what you're talking about. That's
which
crazy.
there are plenty of people involved in the Blood and Plunder community who I know love BattleTech right from the top. And it is a beautiful game. But yeah, that has been soaking up time ever since the month flipped over and I could officially stop caring about the freaking getting done.
It that game derailed me last time. It derailed me last month. Like I had 5 days to paint the stuff I needed to avoid dressing up as a conquistador, and I was like, no, I'm gonna I'm gonna crash this plane.
Savage robot action.
Savage robot action. All right, so wrapping up, we're at the 56-minute mark here. So, all right,
Oh, the penalty. If Tom does not finish
if I
all
fail,
his Spanish forces, if he fails his chosen task, he's going to need to demo scurvy dice to
okay,
someone.
okay, I can do that.
You're going to have to acquire scurvy dice if you don't already have them,
Not a problem.
and and then demo it to somebody.
All right, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. All right. So trivia time. Blood and pedantry. Last time,
Hooray!
the prize is going to be 2 European sailor musketeers and a cannon crew. These are the blisters: 2 European sailor blisters and a cannon crew blister. Right?
12 dudes. Yep.
12 dudes. Pretty hefty prize. The question, which I believe was Glenn's question. So
Yes,
Glenn, you want
I'll
to go
read
ahead
it
and take it away?
again. Yep. Which pirate became known for his mercy and generosity to those he captured, earning himself the nickname Prince of Pirates and his crew the nickname Robin Hood's Men? And what was the name of the ship he went down with in 1717? Hint, Glenn, me, occasionally joke that my son was named after this pirate in a failed bid for additional Kickstarter rewards from Mike. And the answer is Samuel Black Sam Bellamy, going down in the Whydah Galley
All
off
right.
the
So we had
coast of Massachusetts.
oh nice. So we have 10 possible correct answers that got submitted. So I'm gonna roll the die, and the answer is Nicholas McDonald is the winner.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Nicholas
Ooh.
McDonald. So we will be reaching out to you probably before this podcast airs, and we'll be dropping that in the mail for you.
Yep.
All right. So
Oh, I do want to point out
go ahead.
last month's winner was actually a fellow in Canada. I think it was David Neeton.
Yes.
And international postage is a pain. I think everybody knows that. And when I went to send the box to him, I found out that it would be essentially the same as just buying all the models again. So if you're in a foreign country, please answer the question. We will get you stuff. With David, we worked the thing out. I purchased models at a local store to him, and they held them for pickup until he could go get them.
Yeah,
So
that
it
works
wasn't
out
the
perfect.
exact same stuff we promised, but it was stuff that he needed. He got a little more choice in what the prize was, and he still
And we gave
got
business
the
to a
same
friendly
value.
local gaming store, so it's a win-win.
Yep, and FLGS got business. He actually got a bonus model because the conversion rate to Canadian dollars actually made it cheaper.
Oh, Canada.
So you're not real currency and not real queen.
Stop being a snudge. You're the worst.
It's not actually their queen. I don't know. It's fair. Um. Anyways, yeah. So I don't care if you're in Europe or whatever. We will get you the stuff. Okay, guys. It may not be exactly the price that we advertise. Um, to the presumably mostly American audience, but if you're overseas or just across the 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 national border or even in like Alaska, who knows? Uh, we will get you your prize.
Which brings us to today's. Now, do you guys think I should downgrade the prize as you're looking at the show notes, or should we keep it what it is? Should we?
I mean, it's in theme with the episode, and that's what we were
It is.
talking about.
It is. Um,
So
I can PayPal you for half of it. I'd say, if you're okay with that, and we split it.
we'll figure it out when the time comes.
All right. So the prize is going to be an oak and iron starter box. Okay.
Woohoo!
So this is, I
The
think this is
biggest
the
prize we've done.
biggest prize we've done. Okay. And I came up with a question because I wanted it to be somewhat difficult. And Brian Reed made fun of me as he traditionally does. And he's like, your question's too easy. I'm Canadian, blah, blah, blah. I imagine that's how Brian Reed sounds. But I don't do a very good impression. So,
You'd know if you'd be on paint night longer than.
yeah, that's true. I would. All right. So here is the question. Okay. And I will warn people that if you go to the Wikipedia page, it's not going to help you. Okay. And I say that as somebody who went there to check and read it to make sure, and it's not there. Okay. But I will give a hint at the end, so I'm not a complete heartless jerk. Okay. The question: John Plantain, born near Port Royal, Jamaica, was a pirate who built himself an empire. Eventually, using his wealth to buy weapons, build fortifications, he took over a small kingdom in Ranter Bay in Madagascar. Making war on his neighbors, stealing cattle, and enslaving locals, John made himself many enemies. John also amassed many wives and servants, but was, like any pirate, not satisfied with what he had. John Plantain learned of a beautiful daughter of a local king, and when he demanded her as a bride, the king refused. John declared war. The question is, what is the name of this king who would defy John Plantain, the pirate king? At least the name that the English used to refer to him. And the hint that I'll give you is that this can be found in Bennerson Little's book, The Golden Age of Piracy. And I will leave it at that. So, those of you who want to answer that question, I want to know, what is the name of the king who would defy John Plantain, the pirate king of Madagascar? Send your email to talesofthesale@gmail.com. Tales, Tales, of the sale, all one word, no spaces or underscores. And we will pull a name out of a hat from every correct
Was
answer to go out the open iron
okay.
starter box. Go ahead.
I have to ask. Was the correct non-English name in Wiki?
No, just as a
Okay.
king.
The whole point of these questions, they're supposed to be relatively easy to find the answers because we want to give free stuff away.
I know, and it's easily findable. I told them where to find it. So
They have to go buy a book.
n-
And I'm not
It's
saying
a
that
good
people
book.
shouldn't.
Go buy
good
it.
book. Then go buy the book. There are
I'm
other
not saying-
places to find this. You don't need to buy the book. Like
This is
it's a
where
story.
Tom has secretly outed himself as part of the secret cabal of people that make people buy college textbooks. Okay.
The cabal of people to buy a textbook. This textbook isn't $500. There's not a captive audience of college students that need to pay $400 to buy a textbook on physics. It's like a $15 book. So
Look, I fully support buying Venison Little's book. The answer needs to be easily attainable.
Oh, come
the
on,
answer
Glenn.
the answer can be found.
Okay.
The fact that the answer is not on the Wikipedia page, Glenn, okay, doesn't mean that it is too hard to find. You're like my worst student.
It is on a libertarianism page, oddly enough.
Is it?
Yes, it really is.
That's the best.
Knowing the answer to the question, I was able to find it on a libertarianism page.
Okay.
Next problem. The next problem is knowing the answer. You turn on your safe searches.
Yes. Great. All right. So thank you for that hint. And with that, I think we should wrap this up because we're getting past the hour mark. So any kind of like big events coming up, stuff we want to bring up for people, demos and such.
Oh, you got anything?
Just the critical hit stuff, but I think we said we're not doing Are we doing an event? Are you guys?
I was in contact with Preston's away at the moment, so he is not hosting things. And there was some confusion about whether we were just dealing with it later date or what. But I'm gonna try to have like open gaming, or maybe if I can get this stuff ready, which I doubt, I might try to test my convention game Sunday the 25th at Critical Hits. So I'll be there the 25th.
I remember you mentioning trying to do a demo of that because I look forward to hearing about that.
Oh, I mean, I've been working on it low key for a little while. That's part of the reason I was painting all the Spanish and generally trying to get things painted on the whole. But yeah, so the 25th of Critical Hits will be open gaming for sure. I might show up with the basics elements for the convention game I want to run in November, but there's a lot for me to do for that.
I might be able to help you out with some of that. We can talk about it later.
Yeah. Paint nights this month are the 16th and 30th. So this should drop on the 13th. Fingers crossed. So you guys should know about the 16th and 30th ahead of time.
Cool.
Catch us there. I'll be painting Dutch or something like it. Tom will be, I don't even remember, painting Spanish, allegedly.
Yes, it will. We got plenty of Spanish to paint.
True.
I will probably be hosting demos at Mythicos. I'm hoping that they're going to carry Blood and Plunder, Oak and Iron stuff. The people at the store we demoed it for seemed to really like the game. It's a hard game not to like. Obviously, we've done a podcast about it for a year and a half. I will likely be there on Thursday, July 22nd, from around like noon until like 6 or 7. And I'll be there at least once in August. So I will post about it before I go. I'll post on our Facebook page. I'll post on Blood and Plunder Buccaneering across the Spanish Main, and let people know that I'm going to be in northern New Jersey. So anybody who's in the tri-state area that is within driving range of Mawa, I'd love to see you at Mythicos. Worst case, I just get to play a game with Nigel Vega, and we'll have a blast either way. But we'd be happy to have you there.
All right. Does that wrap it up?
I think so.
Cool.
I think so.
All right. Take us out, Glenn.
Well, everyone, thanks for giving us a listen. We really can't do all this without you. And I hope you're able to find that answer, because I would love to be able to give away the Oak and Iron starter box.
We definitely will give it away. It's not going to be a problem. We'll give it away.
Yes. So, all right. We'll see you all next month. In the meantime, submit those BMP campaign reports to bmpcampaign@gmail.com.
Vive la France.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory. And keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.